Have you ever wondered how many calories that you should be eating? Do you know what the formula is? Do you know what the trick is to losing weight and maintaining weight? Are you interested in learning how to live a healthy lifestyle for the rest of your life? Join me today as I interview and engage with Mary Galvin, my personal trainer, owner of Savage Strong Fitness in Salmon, and she also has an online coaching app called Savage Fit. So join us today and let's all learn how we can create a healthier lifestyle.
It's a beautiful chaos, this roller coaster ride. The ups, the downs are spinning all around inside. It's a beautiful chaos. Sometimes I love, sometimes I hate. Have to pause, renegotiate, but with gratitude I appreciate this beautiful chaos.
Hi, and welcome to Beautiful Chaos. I'm Tammy Ramsey, and I'm here with the wonderful and spectacular Mary Galvin. Now, we're going to be talking today. First off, it's episode 2 of season 2. Yay. And we're going to be talking about nutrition, metabolism, and smart weight loss. Mary Galvin is with Savage Strong Fitness in Salmon, Idaho. It's a gym she started, and Savage Fit, which is her online app. And she's a certified nutrition coach and my coach. And she helps women get healthy, strong, and confident at every age. Welcome, Mary.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get to talk to you again. Excited for a new season of the podcast also. That's amazing.
I know. I'm so and just to be real here, the first season we had 18 episodes. We started in August, but I just decided we just need to have December be the end. And we actually took the 15th was our last episode, and then we took a couple weeks, and then our first episode is January 5th on resolutions and how to set goals, which something you also know a lot about.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's on everybody's mind at the beginning of the year for sure.
Right? That's why I thought this would be such a good topic to talk about all the things. So, understanding calories and metabolism and our eating patterns and how they affect weight loss or weight gain. And try to focus on safety, sustainability, and long-term health, because I think that's the key, right? Is to just whatever we need to do, we need to be able to do it consistently, like for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's so many different avenues that you can take when it comes to nutrition and dieting and all of those things. But those who have the most success, and it's not just about losing the weight, obviously,
Right.
or that first step, but you got to be able to maintain that. And the ones that have the most success are doing it in a way that is sustainable that you can do forever, so
Yeah, I
definitely
love
important.
that. I think that one of the things like when I started with you, and you have different nutrition plans that you can lay out for people, and I think everybody needs to just do whatever works for them and their lifestyle.
Mhm.
I'm very big on, eliminate processed, ultra processed foods especially, and try really limit processed foods. But I've gone carnivore, and that's been just fabulous. And even with your help, it's still taken me, well, for a couple of months now to finally really get the hang of it. I was still not eating enough calories. I still struggled. Like when I first was visiting with you and going through your app, and I'm putting in my nutrition, and I would come up like 500 calories short.
Yeah.
And I think part of my problem was the way that I had been eating as a health coach for 9 years was I wasn't watching my calories. I just ate 6 small meals a day, and I kind of had an idea. But I didn't realize I was really short on my calories, and I kind of really screwed up my body. So I think it's really important to know that you need to eat enough to lose weight and to be healthy. But you really helped me with the carnivore also, and I've also added a lot of fat to that because I didn't know you needed like extra fat. It's kind of crazy, but I'm feeling great, and you've really helped me a lot. So let's talk about what the right amount of calories are so we can protect our metabolism, help our metabolism to function correctly and to preserve our muscle, to build our muscle, and to avoid like major restriction. Because I don't know about you, but if the first of the year people start talking about diet,
Yep.
and automatically they're going, well, then I got to eat everything in the house to get it gone.
Yep. Which is not the way to do that.
Not the way to do that. I support throwing stuff away or
Yeah,
donating
totally.
it to somebody else. Out here,
Yes.
anything that comes in that I can't eat because it's like sugary or whatever, I send to the shop. So, so let's talk. I want to ask you, talk about like our resting metabolic rate, because I
Mhm.
think that would you agree that that's important to know what that is so that you can have a basis for where you need to start with your calorie intake?
Yep, definitely. So when we're talking about your metabolic rate, what we're talking about is your resting metabolic rate. So this is basically what amount of calories does your body need to sustain its basic life functions. So this is like your heart beating, your breathing, your sleeping, like you're moving throughout the day, your brain is functioning. Those basic bodily functions need to have calories in order for them to keep going, right?
Mhm.
So your resting metabolic rate is how much does your body need to function properly? And, it is kind of an estimate, right? So when you talk about like how much, what is that for different people or whatever, it depends. Yep. And it's different based on how this number is calculated is a formula that uses age, height, weight, sex, physical activity levels are sometimes calculated in there. And then also so are occasionally your lean muscle mass. And, like each person, their statistics are different. So their, estimated rate for the metabolism is going to be different as well. And, what we risk when we undereat is that if we're taking in fewer calories than what our body needs for basic function, is that all of our systems start to downregulate. So our body is so smart, and this is amazing, but also can be a hard part when it comes to dieting and weight loss and trying to figure out that journey for yourself. The great thing is that our body will adapt. So as if we underfeed it and we don't take care of it in the way that it needs to get the right amount of energy, it will adapt and slow your metabolism down. So that
Yeah.
rate that you need for basic function starts slowing down and you start not having enough energy for your basic life. It's not like you're going to undereat one day and then you're going to stop being able to live. You know, that's where that flexibility is. Your body's going to adjust and it's going to learn how to take then that energy from other functions in your body. So that's where you're losing muscle. You can lose bone density. Like if you don't have the calories to support it, it's going to get it from somewhere else, from your hormones, from your brain function. Um, and, we don't want to sacrifice those things that we need to feel good, to feel strong and healthy in order to try to bring the number down on the scale. And I think people get a little too aggressive
Yes.
because they want to see fast progress and they're impatient. And I
Yeah.
understand because fat loss is it's such a slow process just in general, and it's mundane and boring, and
Yeah.
you have to just like keep doing it every single day. And so, people get a little frustrated and they'd rather do something really extreme at the expense of their health, unfortunately. And when
Right.
that happens, then it puts them into a worse situation. So each time we undereat and our metabolism adapts and says, oh, I'm going to downregulate because I'm not getting enough food, that process repeats itself. And then your body starts slowing down, and your ability to burn energy efficiently gets slower and slower also. So then you have to dig deeper and have less calories and less calories. And, it just is kind of a vicious cycle where, you're really affecting not just you know, your weight loss, but also how you feel from day to day.
Right. And it's your hormones and everything is affected. Your fat cells, like I was watching something that was talking about, liposuction is actually a bad thing because they're taking out fat cells and you
Mm.
need your fat cells, but you need them to function correctly. And one of the things that happens when you're not feeding it enough is your fat cells start storing the different energies because it's like, I don't know when I'm going to get fed next, and I don't know when I'm going to get these nutrients, so I better just make it, and it just really clogs it all up, and it doesn't, and all things can go wrong. I mean, that's why I feel, and maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's really affects our pituitary gland, our thyroid. Like it
Mhm.
can affect all of that if we're not getting enough nutrients in our bodies and by depleting your calories. Because growing up, I grew up in the 80s, man. Like, you were Richard Simmons in it, and
Yep.
just you got to burn calories. It's calories in, calories out. And there's truth to that, but you have to have enough, like you said, to just keep your body going so that it stays healthy and that you're feeding it nutritious things that can also give you all the vitamins to help your hormones and your body to function correctly and your metabolism.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, the calorie in, calorie out, that does exist. I mean,
Yes.
that's the laws of energy.
Yeah.
So that's a real thing. And it does matter. There's no, like, if you really, really undereat, you'll lose weight
Yeah.
because like that is just how energy works. But what happens with a lot of times is when we undereat, then we see that shift in metabolism where we're not burning energy as sufficiently. And then you have those periods where you're overeating. And so
Yes.
it's that undereating, metabolism drops, overeating, now I'm in a surplus. And that's where people are gaining weight, even though they're not eating enough, because they have that dramatic shift of inconsistency within their diets. And part of undereating a lot also means that it's harder to stick to, and
Yes.
you don't have the consistency and you don't feel good, and it's like it's not part of like something you can sustain. So
Right.
more often when people are doing a more extreme approach where they're under fueling, down regulating their metabolism, slowing down, then they're also more likely to then overeat, binge eat, stress eat, all of those things that really put them into that surplus. And now their bottom line of what it takes to lose weight keeps shifting lower and lower. And it's getting harder and harder for them to actually get to that weight loss process from what it could be if they had a healthy metabolism. If they were to fuel their body and give themselves enough calories, you can still lose weight with that,
Right.
but what you're going to do is you're going to have like a slower process there. And I think sustainably, and then also for your metabolism's sake, that process being slow and steady and more sustainable is going to be much better for your results and your overall health as well. And for women, you talk about the 80s. Like, so many of us have been through cycles of dieting, right? And this is
Yes.
cultural too. So there's these extreme diet cultures that pop up and it's like, yeah, yeah, like I want to try that. It's working for so and so. This person lost all this weight doing whatever method. And typically it's like an extreme calorie deficit. It
Right.
works because their calories are super low and usually too low for a while, but they can't sustain it. Their metabolism slows down. And then what happens? The weight comes back.
And then
So
it
that
comes back
process,
worse too,
yeah, I mean,
right?
for a lot of women, this has been a lifetime of this cycle of that same thing over and over and over again. And we never really learned like what is maintenance? What's the normal range of calories that I should be eating to feel good and feel healthy? What's the normal range of calories based on my age, my activity level, and I think a lot of people just flat out don't even know how many calories they're eating, So
No.
it's can be intimidating to try to like jump into the process, but it also is very, very empowering
Yes.
because you realize that when what you're putting into your body and you know what your body needs, it's easier for you to have control over that process as well, as opposed
Right.
to just kind of guessing.
Well, and that's where I like your app. I've utilized different apps, but I
Mhm.
think keeping any kind of app that tracks what you're eating, food
Yeah,
journaling of any type is so important because, you know, it, well, for a couple of things. The first thing is, like you say, to keep track and to understand how many calories or how much protein or how much, whatever your, what are they called? Oh, your protein, your fats, your
yeah, your
carbohydrates,
macros.
your
Mhm.
macros. Whoo,
Yep.
brain dead. So yeah, your macros. So to keep track of your macros, like that's so important. And I think that to know where you are is the
Mhm.
only way that you're going to change what you're doing and create health within yourself. Because, I can sit there and say, I'm doing great, Mary. I'm doing
Mhm.
great. Oh yeah, I'm not tracking my nutrition because I pretty much do the same thing every day. And then I go, well, why has the scale stalled for like a month now? Maybe I'll go back to tracking my food. And then I track my food and I'm going, oh, I'm not getting enough calories. Like I'm
Yep.
always short at the end of the day. So it's an effort for me to eat more because my body was trained to eat less. And it's still healing. I feel like I'm in this healing process, but there are so many different apps or just keep a notebook as a journal. So I love to keep a journal. I think that it definitely works. And when you don't do it, it definitely doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't change what you don't know.
Exactly.
So, if you're feeling lost, you're feeling confused, you don't know why something's happening, you got to take a look at the cold hard facts. And sometimes when you start journaling your food and you put it all in, it's like most of the time people are like, "Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Now I know why," right? It's
Yep.
very telling. And that process for some people when they first start feels a little bit tedious. Like
Yeah.
it takes an extra second of your life to think about it. But if you consider how much of our lives we are on our phones anyway, doing
Yes.
things that are not helpful, just kind of wasting time, it takes a few seconds. And the apps that are available, I mean, there's plenty of them out there. But they're very easy to use, user friendly. It calculates everything for you. So all you have to do is put in your portion size and what food you are having, and it figures out everything else for you. So you can actually see from day to day, what is it that I truly am putting in my body? And the more honest you are, the better off you're going to be. It's not about like feeling shame or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
It's about just like really recognizing this is the information.
Right.
And then what can I do with that? If you notice that you're under eating some days and then you're overeating others, or you're not having meals and
Right.
therefore you're grazing all day long, or you're not eating all morning and then you're binge eating at night. Those patterns and those things that you can recognize, if you actually track it and you see that information, can help you to then recognize what's going on
Right.
and try to make a shift and a change. Because a lot of times it's not that you need to know how, what foods to eat or that you need to follow a certain meal plan. It's that you need to recognize the patterns that you're having with your food. A lot of times it's food relationship and it's just basic behaviors that need to be changed. And you can't change behavior if you don't first acknowledge it.
Right.
And yeah, I mean it's so powerful to track your food. I mean, I recommend it. You don't have to do it every day for the rest of your life by any means, but in those times when you want to see change and you want to know what's going on with your body and with your nutrition, it is such a powerful tool. You need to do it.
It really is. And if you suffer
Mhm.
with inflammation and or any, type of anti-inflammatory disease, that it's really good to utilize that
Yeah.
because then if you have like if I wake up in the morning and I'm like, "Oh, I can't hardly bend my fingers and they're all swollen," I can look back and go, "Oh, I
Hmm.
ate XYZ and that's
Yep.
that's obviously I shouldn't eat that." So that's the other thing is how you feel. It shouldn't be about like I'm fine with like weighing myself once a week. I'm fine more fine with measuring myself and keeping track of my measurements and my
Mhm.
sizes type of deal
Yeah.
than I am the scale because I feel like, especially if you're strength training, you're building muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. So I just don't like watching the scale as much. It kind of freaks me out to
Right.
watch the scale. So, so they can go online and seek, like you can Google, metabolic rate, and they'll
Yep.
give you the formula to do that because I do feel that's important. Or you can buy, I have a Hume scale, and I know it's not super accurate, but I like to have it as a basis because
Mhm.
I've really enjoyed that it's told me my metabolic rate has increased.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's telling me, well, based on your fitness level and what you're doing, you need to have more calories. And so
Right.
I
And
really
I mean,
like
that's
that.
what is great about your metabolism is that it's dynamic. So it
Yes.
changes and it changes with your behaviors. So, what you're doing with your body will affect your metabolism. And the great news is it doesn't stay that way. So even if you've had years of treating it poorly,
Years of
you can,
garbage
yeah,
in and
yeah, you
sitting on
can
your couch.
still improve it. You can still shift it in the other direction. It's not damaged, it's not broken.
Right.
It's just not in a great place right now. So there are things that you can do to improve it, in which, that's where there's a few things. Moving your body more, right? That's going to help. Muscle. That is probably the biggest, like, indicator of how much you can change your metabolism. Because if you start with a body that has never strength trained and, you've just been dieting, you're losing fat and you're losing muscle.
Right.
And the less muscle that your body has, the slower your metabolism is going to be. So if you can then increase your muscle mass, but keep your weight the same, you've got more muscle, less body fat is what happens. You not only look better and feel stronger, but your metabolism goes up because what it takes for your body to function when you have more muscle, more lean muscle, is more calories, more energy. So the more muscle you have, the more food you get to eat.
And I love that. And my
Yes,
muscle
it's
mass has
amazing.
has increased. So I do love that.
Yeah, totally.
So let's talk about, so we talked about, they need to know their resting metabolic rate to kind of
Yep.
figure out their calorie intake if they're wanting to lose weight, and they'll want to at least get what their metabolic resting rate is, correct?
Yes. So
That's
you
the
don't want to
minimum.
go below that for very
Right.
long. It's
Okay.
okay if it's a day here or there, like that's not going to cause damage. But if you are below your metabolic rate for a longer period of time, you're going to have problems with your metabolism.
Right.
And all of the other functions of your body are going to start suffering as well. So, that is kind of like your bottom line. And so if you're like, okay, well, once I get that calculated out, then how much food am I supposed to eat? Am I supposed to eat that amount? Well, it depends on your goal. Most people want to eat like 300 to 500 calories above what that bottom line is to fuel the extra things that your body is doing, right? Because you're not at rest all day long.
Right.
You're moving throughout the day and you're going to work and you're working out, hopefully. And, you've got other activities besides just like being a vegetable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in order to fuel those other activities that you're doing throughout the day, that's what that extra, 300 to 500 calories are for, to give you energy so that you can perform and feel good as you're, doing the rest of your days. That's your maintenance. So that's a level that you can eat consistently that you'll feel good, you'll have a good body composition, you should be able to maintain your weight at. If you, try that maintenance level and you're gaining weight and you're really hitting the numbers, it could mean that you have to work your way up to it to re-establish like a healthier metabolism. And that's where a lot of people struggle is because they have caused some metabolic damage. And like I said, you can reverse it, right? But
Yeah.
because your metabolism has slowed down from chronic undereating and it's not at its ideal place, if you jump right up to maintenance, it might be too many calories for you. So
Yeah.
there is a process called reverse dieting, which I just want to touch on. I don't want to go too far into the details, but what that it is you're basically slowly introducing a few extra calories at a time. So maybe you add an extra 100 calories and you got to be tracking. Add an extra 100 calories, do that for a couple of weeks. Your body's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm getting some food. I'm feeling good. I have more energy. It's going to start burning energy. Increase a little bit more, step it up another little notch, and work your way up a little bit at a time. Give yourself a few weeks for the body to get used to it. And it's a kind of a slower process, but you are more likely to be able to maintain as you're increasing your calories because you're feeling better and you're using more energy throughout the day. So that energy balance of calories in, calories out, like it both are moving up, like
Yeah.
you're moving up in your intake, but you're also burning more as you go as well. And then your metabolism can be in that healthy range
Right.
where it's more sustainable, you feel better, you're not in risk of damaging your body functions, you're well above your metabolic rate. And that's where we want to live. We want to live in that maintenance range. And then if you do have to diet later, if you want to lose some weight, you have somewhere to go, without causing damage to your body. So if you've got your maintenance calories at, let's say, 1,700 calories, if you want to take 500 calories out, you could still be within your metabolic resting range. And, then you're able to lose fat because you're pulling calories back, but not hurting your metabolism and hurting your body so much. If
Right.
you're at 1,200 calories for your maintenance and you want to lose weight, but your metabolism isn't strong, if you cut 500 calories out from 1,200, that's barely any calories. And like you want to talk about not feeling good and actual starvation,
Yeah.
you get into those really low calorie ranges, your hair starts falling out, you lose muscle mass, your hormones go crazy, like all those health issues start to then follow because you're not feeding yourself enough.
Yeah. And who'd have thought that was a thing? But it's a real thing. And
Yeah,
then
definitely.
and like you said, and then if you starve yourself, then you're gonna binge. And that's kind of the way
Mhm.
I would roll. I would like, not enough calories for 2 or 3 days, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't get enough
Yep.
food and was eating all the wrong things because. So I do want to talk about emotional eating because that's a lot of people when they start to change their lifestyle and start to try to eat healthier, or they're trying to lose some weight and they're cutting their calories. All of a sudden, all these things that are probably not the healthiest for you um, can affect you and your emotions.
Yes.
Gosh, I'm a emotional eater, and we dealt a lot with emotional eating when during my health coaching years because we worked a lot on the mindset of it all. And um, I think it's just really important to recognize that you are why you're snacking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or to understand, oh wow, I didn't get enough calories for the last 2 days, so naturally I'm going to be hungry, but maybe I should have protein and vegetables
Yeah.
first. But I want to share with you guys this deal that I had posted on my I have a cabinet that has like chocolate chips and peanut butter was my go-to
All your
anytime I
snacky foods.
yes, my snacky foods. And so we would talk about stop, challenge, and choose first off. So if you're in the afternoon and you're all of a sudden you just feel like you can't stop thinking about the chocolate chips and the peanut butter in the cabinet, and you walk over to the cabinet, well, first I would have this, and it would say stop and kind of challenge yourself. Well, why do you really want this right now? And are you hungry? Are you tired? I say it's the am I questions, right? Am I hungry? And am I thirsty maybe? Because maybe you're thirsty. Or am I tired? That's another one.
Hmm.
And then you have to stop and I say, we don't we teach our children now how to deal with their emotions and recognize emotions, but we as adults aren't so great at it. So this is a good acronym, BLASTED. So, are you bored? Do you feel lonely? Are you angry? Are you stressed, tired, excited, depressed? Because I eat on all those levels. How about you? Do you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think most people can relate to this because all of us
Oh,
have had those emotional times before, right? Where
yeah,
you felt those things. And so many people use food as a coping mechanism for it. So you feel that emotion, and how do you soothe it? You soothe it with food. And really what we need is that moment of pause. And I love this because it and having it visual
yeah,
definitely would help because
right.
it just gives you that few seconds to really pause and think, what is it that's going on here? Because
Yeah,
if you're going to help soothe the emotion that you have, you first have to recognize that you're having that, right? So it's
yes.
like, okay,
So,
what is
right
going on
there.
here? Why am I rummaging through the pantry after I am perfectly fed?
Yes. Yeah, I
You
had a
know,
great lunch. I had everything I was
yeah,
supposed to for lunch, but here it is
yeah,
2 hours
yeah.
later.
And here I am and I'm rummaging around. So it's like, okay, what is going on that is causing me to come in here? And, if you are hungry, and you need food, of course, you want to eat, right?
Right,
But if it's one of these other things, I think taking the second to pause will give you the opportunity to change the habit. So if you've developed this habit where you feel that emotion and then you eat, I do that all the time. I really have to be mindful about what I'm doing. Otherwise, I will be constantly grabbing stuff. And it's always
right.
times of stress, or even if it's not like a huge stress, it's just like a little thing I think about, and then all of a sudden I've got my hand in the chocolate chips, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it gives you a second to say, okay, wait a minute, I'm not hungry. What I am is that, I'm feeling a little stressed or I'm
Right.
feeling a little tired. So, what is another way we can then help cope with that besides turning to food? Because the food habit, it's quick and easy, but
Yeah,
it's really not going to help you to fix the thing that's going on, right?
right.
And I
100%.
mean, yeah, I mean, everybody needs to have some type of coping mechanisms, and there's plenty of healthy versions too. You can take a few deep breaths, you can drink some water, you can, get rest when you need to, you can go for a walk, you can move your body. Like there's
Yeah.
all these other things that you can put in place that are going to help you then stick to your goal.
I would also have, so I had a calendar and I had written down on the calendar, if I were to get into the cabinet, I could do jumping jacks. I could dance in my living room. I
Mhm,
could
yes.
go sing because I love to sing. I could go paint. Like I had a list of alternate things I could do other than,
Yep.
munching. And the other thing when you mentioned about habit, the habit of eating or that habit of snacking, I was reading somewhere where it says, if every day, say every day at 3 o'clock, you take a break and you go and you sit down and you have a snack in
Hmm.
on your couch, on your spot, on your couch, and you have your snack and you're watching a show, then every time you sit in your spot and you turn the TV on, what are you going to want?
You're going to want the snack to go to. Hmm.
Yeah. So I even tried for a while. So these are just tips that have worked for me, but I started for a while only eating at the table. Like if I had a snack, I would go sit at the table and have my snack. I would
Hmm.
quit eating a snack on my couch because it was just too easy
Yep.
to snack. And then sometimes I would even like if we're doing popcorn with the kids or something, I will eat my popcorn in a different spot, not in my spot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, like quirky things, but it's funny how our brains work and
Oh, yeah.
how, you know, how easy it is to create the bad habits and how easy it is to when we're suffering with the emotional eating and having a stressful moment that we don't even think, we just reach
Hmm.
for whatever it is. So being aware definitely is helpful.
Right.
Um,
Well, and I think I read somewhere, and this is probably not an accurate number for my statistic that I'm going to throw out here.
just throw it. It's
I'm just
okay.
going to throw a number out here that I'm making up, but I heard something along these lines. But it was something to the story of, like 75% of what your brain is doing is is the same thing that it does every single day. Like there's only a very small fraction of your day is new activities, new information, new brain function. The rest is routine.
Yeah.
So as you wake up in the morning, you have the same routine, right? So your brain's thinking, okay, get up, put my feet on the floor, walk over here, brush my teeth. Day after day, like the majority, it's probably even more than that, percent of what is going on is just established behaviors and routine that's been done repetitious over and over and over again. And, your eating habits are absolutely a part
Very.
of that. And so breaking that chain that's already been established is really, really, really tough sometimes. But creating a new chain, a new habit, or a new series, if you repeat that, then your brain will just go down the new pathway. So, rather than just saying stop, like changing the location. Yes, that's going to help teach your
Yes.
brain a new pathway. And, knowing that this is just part of training my new routine, it's going to take some time. My body and my brain are used to repeating itself. So I've got to give it something new to do and then train it and teach it to follow that instead.
I
And then it
love
becomes
that.
habit, a new habit, a better habit.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And that's so much easier to, it's so much easier to be a creator than it is to try to stop something like you said, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I do want to tell you, so that is just like when you're driving down the road. I can remember one time I was taking James to preschool and the girls were in high school and he's in the back seat and I'm driving and I'm on autopilot. That's what I call it when our brains just do their thing and it's just
Yep.
a habit. And I passed the school because I'm on the way to the high school. And he's like, Mom, you just missed the turn. You know, he's like
Yep.
4 telling me where I, but anyway, but my brain was on automatic. And I do think that is exactly what happens with our choices of food or our emotional eating or the things
Yep.
that we do. And
Absolutely. When you're in the grocery store, you're going through the same routine of grabbing the same foods, right? So, like
yes,
knowing your habits and then making a shift to then alter them, change them is kind of part of breaking that and making it to a better routine. And it does take a lot of time and practice. We all struggle with it. Let me just say that too.
yeah, well, 100%. The
Yeah.
other day we were in the grocery store and we got the Christmas party coming and I'm like just grabbing all this stuff and I look at my cart and went, wow, there's a lot of unhealthy stuff in here.
Yeah.
Like I just don't even and it wasn't there was no thought process other than I have to feed them a Christmas dinner and and you have your specials and then I
Yep.
have to feed them a lunch and a breakfast the next day and the next day and I'm like, "Oh, but yeah, I love that it starts in the grocery store and I think that if you take a minute to go before you check out, stop and look in your cart
Yeah.
and go, like potato chips. Well, maybe you get pork rinds. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just, or maybe you
Or
decide to
popcorn.
get
Yeah.
popcorn. Yes, you try to just make one healthy choice. So, anyways, yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been
Sure.
super fun, and I'm going to drop that. If anybody wants a copy of that blasted um, acronym that you might want to post on your refrigerator or your naughty cabinet, which for one, clean the cabinet out and give it away.
Exactly.
Don't have it there tempting you because I do also believe we have that caveman mentality, right? If
Yep.
it's there in front of us, we will eat it.
Absolutely.
We could maybe not eat it for a day or two, but eventually you're going to eat whatever it is
Yep.
that's in your house. So don't have it in your house if you're trying to change habits and create healthy ones. Anything else that you would like to add to close us out?
I just want to maybe touch on metabolism one more time and
Okay.
remember that you do have the power to improve and change it. And so, being proactive about that and trying to change your behaviors and your habits so that you stop that cycle of under eating and, causing more of that damage towards your metabolism in this new season, in this new year. Think about what can I do to help set my metabolism up to a better place so that I can have a better weight loss, process if that's your choice, or how I can maintain my weight through the next year at a healthy, sustainable, manageable level. And, to really be mindful of when we're under eating and under fueling, that it's really, even though it seems like the quickest way to your end goal, it really is setting you back in the long term. And what's going to set you forward and have you feeling better in the next year is to resist that urge of under eating and try to keep a healthy metabolism with enough food, keeping your energy high, working on daily activity and muscle mass. And, you would be surprised the amount of change that you can make in a year if you start now. And that's your goal.
And speaking of a year,
Mhm.
um, I think it's also important to know that real changes and permanent changes in your lifestyle uh, take a long time to transform. And it's not a perfect
No.
climb. It's a up and down and zig and zag, and you might be this direction and then you're going to plummet. But you got to just keep the focus and give yourself realistic goals.
Mhm.
We talk about how to set goals in the first episode of this season, but it's not realistic to say I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. Maybe if you're 20
Yeah.
and you haven't totally wrecked your metabolism, but
Right.
the older you get, I feel like the longer I asked ChatGPT how long it would take me to lose like 35 pounds, and it was like a year. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, well, okay. But that was okay because then when you're struggling and you feel like, oh my word, I'm not making progress or it's taking so long, you can go, but wait, it should take me a long time. It should
Yep,
take
it
me a
should.
year. It should take me the rest of my life to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So,
Yep, definitely.
okay. Well, thank you, Mary. It's fun. It's always a good time to have you on, and I hope to have you on again.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.